as we slowly transition into this new system, that's what it is. It's a completely new system that we're moving into. And everybody's still thinking they're translating things as if we're still in the fiat system and we're still going to remain in the fiat system. We're not. Officially not going to be doing that. But while this happens, the people who are employed, they're going to be making fiat. They're going to keep paying tax on that. And even if an employer came out and said that they're going to be paying people in Bitcoin, they still have all your information there. They're going to have your name, your address, your social insurance number. They're going to give you a tax form at the end of the year. That's not going to change for a long time in the employment world. If you're working for a company, that's not going to change for a very long time. But if you start your own business and you sell a product or service online, how could they possibly differentiate income and tips? It's the exact same thing. Tips are income. Employment income, you have to pay tax on because they send you a tax slip at the end of the year. But if you don't have that, you're basically going to have to voluntarily tell them how much you made. And if there's no tax on tips, then you can kind of just classify everything as a tip. How could they argue that? So the point of this is that we're going to move through this next decade. I think it's probably going to take that long, or if not more. But we're going to move through this next part where there's still people who are living in that system and there's people who are out of that system and kind of just like living where we're going already, living in the future, essentially. And so I wanted to put this in your brain to kind of look at everything differently, because nothing's going to be the same in 10 years from now. Nothing's going to be the same. And so if you can get that into your mind and start setting yourself up and changing whatever that is, if you have to leave your job and figure it out for a while, and if you have to spend some of your Bitcoin to do that, I think that it's worth it. Because if you're still in the fiat world and you're working for somebody, like I said, they're taking like 40, 50% off of your check before it even arrives in your bank account. That is fucking robbery. And it's not going to change for a while, but you have the ability to change that yourself. You have the ability to do that today. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Daddy-O says, no income on tips is the gateway to the new no income tax system. 100%. But people are missing that because they're still thinking in the fiat world. They think that we're going to continue living in that world forever, and we're not. But if Trump just came out and said, we're not going to have any tax anymore, that would blow people's brains out. But as Daddy-O said here, it's the gateway. That's the key. It's the gateway to the new system of no income tax. It's coming. El Salvador's talked about it. Even the fact that Trump's talking about no tax on tips, read between the lines there. Income and tips are the exact same thing. The only thing that's different there is how the government treats it, but it's just income. Whether my employer's paying me or somebody on Zap.stream sends some Bitcoin, that's me getting paid by somebody. It's no different. The only difference there is how the government treats it. And Craig says the Cynthia Loomis speech said that Bitcoin will pay off U.S. debt over a few decades. Yeah. And think about that. Think about if she really believes that, and they're going to take their Bitcoin, put in the treasury, and they're going to be able to pay off their debt in 20 years from now. She said the minimum 20 years. But think about the price of Bitcoin at that time. If they're going to pay off $35 trillion worth of debt and increasing by the month here, if that's their plan and they actually believe that's going to happen, think about what their price prediction in terms of Bitcoin would be. And I think it was Trump. He said that it's gonna be bigger than people even understand right now, even Bitcoiners. He was talking at a Bitcoin conference, and he said Bitcoin's going to go higher than anybody can even imagine because of that. And Daddy-O says, we're about to give central bankers the middle finger. That's what it's all about here. Trump understands that we need some governance in the world. And I know there's anarchists out there who think that humans can just figure it out. I don't think so. I think we need governance, I think we need it to be about 1/1000th of it actually what it is today, in terms of very much shrinking the government. So if you piece everything together here, because that's what you have to do. If you want to be a critical thinker, you have to just piece things together. You can't look at one thing and use your bias to form an opinion on that. You have to look at a bunch of different things here. So you look at the no tax on tips. You look at what Bitcoin is, what it was designed to be. Remove the central banks. You look at the picture that Trump had in his Oval Office of Andrew Jackson, the last president to take out a central bank. And you start tying these things together. You look at the fact that he said that he's given the power back to the people. You look at the fact that he said Bitcoin stands for freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government control. Why the fuck would a president be saying that if he didn't understand what's going to happen here? So, moral of the story is, don't listen to influencers on Twitter talk about how Trump said crypto too many times. Trump doesn't understand Bitcoin. RFK is the way forward here. No. We're exactly where we need to be. We're probably way ahead of where we need to be, honestly, right now. If you're holding Bitcoin and you think that the US is going to be able to pay off $35 trillion worth of debt, you're holding any sort of Bitcoin today, you're in such a good spot right now. Don't underestimate that either. So, I mean, taking all these things into consideration, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I can't even vote for Trump myself. I was talking to somebody on the weekend. He's like, why do you even care about this? You're in Canada. You can't vote for Trump. I'm like, well, yeah, but the US is like where everybody looks to for things. The US does something and then everybody else follows. So yes, I cannot vote for him. But anyways, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but the main takeaways here should be to understand that we're never going back to that system. Start thinking in a different way of the new system. We're never going back to that system. So that means that everything is going to change. We're not just going to take some pieces of the new Bitcoin economy, some of the old fiat system. No, that system is going to be completely gone. Once you get the denominator there, once you get a currency that's actually backed by something, everything changes. So start thinking about that in whatever you do in your life, whatever way you add value to the world. If you have a job, start thinking about ways that you can start your own, whether that's in the morning, at night. You don't have to quit tomorrow, but start taking steps towards being your own boss, because that's when you're going to have true independence over everything. You want to be your own bank. You want to be your own business. That's how you get true freedom. You're not going to be going to work 9 to 5 and thinking that you're free. And not only that, you're going to pay a shitload more tax too, because everything's a tip. But the next part there is understand where this is going and put a very high priority on keeping whatever sats that you have, whatever sats you have in cold storage, keep that safe. Because I know the price hasn't reacted maybe as we thought it would. I don't know. I didn't really have any sort of expectations. I still think that last week was going to be the lowest you'll ever be able to buy Bitcoin again. But make that a priority, is that understand what you're holding here. Understand where this is going and understand the importance of keeping that safe. So do whatever you have to do. If you have to invest some time, if you have to invest some money, make sure that whatever Bitcoin you have is in a safe place, and then just do whatever you can to get more Bitcoin. Do whatever you can to get more Bitcoin. So that's it.